So, yeah, I made a mistake. Let's do the title. Okay, so this is supposed to be a part 2 video, and I actually took down part 1 for reasons we'll get to later. But for now, here's the backstory. If you ask me what my design or style aesthetic is, I'd probably just stare blankly into the middle distance. March, on the other hand, she knows what she likes and she has an amazing design style. She's into interior design, and when we sold her old house, more people were interested in talking about the interior design of the place than the house itself. Now, a while ago, I bought her this really cool, organically designed 3D printed stool that she had liked. And being that it's 3D printed and really fits her design style, I thought, why not use that as a jumping off point? I'll figure out if I can replicate that design and then use the skills I learned to design something of my own. And the first step, of course, was just trying to figure out how it was designed and printed. At first, I thought I'd have to learn Blender to do kind of organic designs, but then I saw a post on Reddit where a guy had made some organic designs using something called forms within Fusion. And being that I was already trying to learn Fusion, I thought I'd start there. So I watched a couple of short tutorials on YouTube, and honestly, after the first one, I already had a good idea of what I was going to do. So I just started trying to copy the design. I had a few issues figuring out T-splines, but after not too long, I had something that looked pretty good. Now, I don't exactly have a giant printer, and even if I did, I'd have nowhere to put it. But what I do have is a Bambu Lab P1S, which means my build volume is limited to about 25 centimeters, which obviously isn't going to make a great stool. But 25 centimeters is about the perfect size to print a rubbish bin to replace this piece of shit that I hate and am always knocking over. I wanted to print it in vase mode using translucent PETG, so I had to dial in the settings to try and get nice, thick, translucent layers. Whilst he gets these settings dialed in, I want to thank this video sponsor, PCBWay.com. If you don't have a 3D printer, PCBWay can 3D print for you. All you need to do is upload your files, choose your material, color, and how many you want to get an instant quote. They can also do PCB assembly, CNC machining, and a bunch more things that most of us can't do at home. Check them out in the link in the description below. Thanks, PCBWay. So after a bunch of test prints using Bambu Lab's 0.8mm nozzle, I had some nice, translucent, 2mm thick walls for my vase mode prints. So all that was left to do was pull out my Bambu Lab translucent olive PETG and just go all in and print it big. I'm gonna try and print this big, basically that whole build volume. This could all go terribly wrong. 7 hours, 2 minutes. Yeah. This came out looking so good. I honestly couldn't believe how easy this was. I went from deciding I'm going to try to learn forms in Fusion to having this thing in my hands in less than 2 days. And that is really not normally the case for me. Normally it's just issue after issue after issue. And March really liked it too. So much so, in fact, that she thought it would be better suited in her office, which honestly I was really happy about. But it did mean that I needed to make another one for my studio. So a couple days later, I jumped back into Fusion and started a new design. And I kind of poked and prodded at it a bit and tried to make something in the same vein, but a little bit different, and ended up with this guy. It's cool. It's, I think, pretty interesting. I've made it kind of a bit fatter and a little bit less detailed. It's ended up with a little bit of a seam on it, which I'm not sure how that happened. But overall, I'm happy with this, and it's going to be good here in the studio. Okay, so that's where part 1 originally ended. And I edited the video and uploaded it to YouTube last week with a bit of a clickbaity title about stealing the design. And yeah, maybe that was a mistake. I thought I'd made it clear in the video that I wasn't really stealing the design, and tried to show that I was a fan of the original company and even promote their website and their values and things. And then, like a toddler showing off the mural they painted on their parents' living room wall, I made an Instagram post and tagged the company in it. It turns out, if you post a video saying you stole someone's design, they don't like that. And they made it very clear to me. And in hindsight, yeah, fair enough. They're a company that makes high-end 3D printed homewares. They don't want potential customers watching my video and going, well, if this idiot can do it, then I'll just get my nephew to 3D print me one instead. Now, just to be clear, they didn't ask me to take the video down, but I did anyway because, well, quite honestly, I was embarrassed and it all felt a bit gross. But enough of that. Let's get on to part 2 of the video where I tried to come up with my own design that I designed myself on my own. Just from my own head, from, you know, all sorts of inspiration from everywhere, but nowhere in particular, just my own thing. Man, ADHD is a son of a bitch. I was on such a roll designing and printing those bins, and then, I don't know, a bunch of time just passed, and I still have to figure out how to make my own design, and I don't even remember how to use forms anymore. But I do know what filament I want to use. This is Reflow Filament. They're a Dutch company that makes really cool colors of 100% recycled PLA and PETG. And a lot of kind of designer 3D print places use this filament, so I want to get some of this. I want something that's going to work in my studio. I really like this eggshell color, but it is out of stock. I would get seafoam green, but it's currently not in fashion, which makes things so much harder. So I think I'm gonna go with this Arctic Breeze, quite a striking translucent blue. I'm going with a brighter, more dynamic color because, well, it's going in my studio, so who cares if it looks shit at the end of the day. And I'm gonna use it to replace this bin, which obviously hasn't been here for very long, but I actually want to put this one in my bathroom to replace the red planter, and then that can maybe, you know, be used as a planter. All right, so what's this design gonna be? I know that I still want it to be in forms infusion, which I want it to be all like squiggly and organic, I guess. And I think I kind of want to make it square. I don't know what I'm doing. How about I just try messing around in forms? Alright, so I got this guy printed out. I don't know. It looks alright, so I'm gonna print a bigger version like this one, and we'll see how that looks before going full size. Alright, so we printed this thing out last night, and I had a bit of a look at it, and there was a couple of things I didn't love. One is that there's, it goes in quite sharp at the bottom in a couple places and kind of pinches in on the inside. And I also found there is, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a bit of a seam showing up here and down the bottom here somewhere as well. Also, I showed it to March and got a bit of feedback, and she rightly pointed out that, like, I think these two sides, this angle is very interesting and fun, whereas the opposite two sides don't have much going on. So I want to add a bit more interest there. And there's a couple of other little creases that feel just a bit too tight and don't look great in real life. So gonna have a bit of a play around and see what else we can come up with and print out another prototype. So I'm about to print out a test of the slightly updated version of the bin, and I was looking about how to deal with this seam, and I discovered that there is a setting in Bamboo and Orca Slicer called Smooth Spiral. So let's have a look. Okay, so on this one, you can see that there is a bit of a seam looking thing that's going to come down here. But if I turn on the setting Smooth Spiral, it's not there. So I'm going to do 2 prints and see if turning on Smooth Spiral takes away any of the other detail and if it's worth using or not. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got both versions printed, and here are our 2 prints. This one is without smooth setting on, and I have the seam up there. I don't know if it shows on this camera. And this one doesn't. It's got the smooth setting and no seam. So, Smooth Spiral, it's a winner. Okay, so the filament arrived, but this is a bit bittersweet because I was all excited to unbox this and kind of give a bit of information on reflow filament. But then when I went to look up their website for information, it turns out they've gone bankrupt. So I guess if I want to buy this seafoam green, I need to do it quick before our local stockist runs out. But this is a pretty wild color. I haven't seen other places do colors that look like this, so I guess somebody's gonna have to fill the gap. And here's the final result. Check that out in the sun. I love the way the light shines through this translucent PETG. I actually wanted to print out a matte PLA one too, so I printed out this guy. I really wanted to do it in the light eggshell color, but I didn't have light eggshell filament. I had wood filament. From the beginning of this project, my intention was always to try and steal like an artist, to take inspiration from somewhere else and make a design of my own. And in that way, I think I've succeeded. This is definitely a thing that I designed by myself. But is it any good? Honestly, I don't know. Right now, in the sun with this filament, it looks pretty cool. It's got melting ice cube vibes that I really, really like. But I think anything would look cool in the sun in this filament. I change my mind on a daily basis of whether I actually like the design or not, but let me know what you think. Do you like this one? Do you prefer either of the other designs? If you like this design, I'm going to put the model, the STL files, as well as the print profile and settings I used on MakerWorld, which will be linked below, so you can print it out yourself. At the end of the day though, what really matters the most is that this bin is better than the shitty little bin that I kept knocking over, so it's staying in the studio. Anyway, this video, this project, it all took way too long, so I'm super keen to move on to the next project. But for now, have a look at these cool things I made.
Shalom, benibzilobzi.